hello, welcome for everybody that's watching and wanting to learn a little bit more about the Six of Swords. So, all about the thoughts and the communication. Let's jump in and let's bring it in. The Six of Swords shows a woman and a small child being ferried across the water by a man, while in the boat there are six swords standing upright around the front of the boat. Now, the boat is representing our journey through life and our ability to navigate difficult emotions. Don't forget, swords are the suit of communication and our thought process. So just bear that in mind while we're doing swords and you won't go wrong. The suit tells you everything. It shows a voyage to somewhere new. And here, life needs to move onwards. And we often need to change our outlook, don't we, in order to heal or to learn. If we look at the boat, it's sailing into calmer waters. On the right side of the boat, you've still got the choppy sea, which is symbolizing being churned up, disturbed, and our troubled emotions. On the right of the boat, we've got those negative thoughts that will stir negative emotions, and negative emotions will stir negative thoughts. So a cycle of unhelpful thoughts is now being broken as they sail into the calmer, smoother water to the other side of the boat. So on the left, it shows us their minds are starting to settle and they'll be seeing the truth and logic of their situation without so much emotional or mental chatter. Their emotions and their mental state will calm down. Remember that although it's the suit of swords and it's all about thoughts, it's going to affect us. Our thoughts become what we feel. So they're calming down, and the boat and the journey show a time to leave the problems behind in acceptance of the past or with the need to move on and with a grateful release of all that pressure. The boat is providing a break between the waves and the smooth sea, signaling the distance is being put between them and their problems, which is also shown by sailing from one shore to another. Now, a bit like our last card, where we had three characters in the Five of Swords, there are three people again here, but they're playing very different roles. There's a woman or a mother, and she is puddled in what looks like a cloak, quite a dull brown, yellowy colour, which shows a lack of energy and an avoidance of taking part in her rescue. She's wrapped herself in that cloak with her head down, and that's allowing her to absorb her thoughts, maybe even, if we look at her, avoiding giving comfort to that child. If she looks up, all she's going to see are the swords and the stresses and the danger that they posed, leaving her feeling frozen by her situation. She's very vulnerable and despairing. Her legs are sitting amongst the swords, reflecting on the loss and the pain that she's entangled in. And this has prompted this change in her life. The child is sitting close to the woman, dressed in blue, showing blue is the color of spiritual trust. Cuddling up to the woman, he wishes to feel secure. Yet all he can do is have faith in others to provide a safe journey, because no comfort's been offered here. Now, in some versions of the Rider-Waite Smith, this child's clothing is indigo, and that's what we've got in this one. I use so many different decks. This one I've chosen has that indigo. There's also a little bit of blue that we see in other decks. And this man is punting that boat and putting effort into sailing them to a better place. He's the one taking charge of the situation. And there's no talking there. Now, he represents real help. And slowly things are moving onward. The man's blue sleeves in like a greeny sort of trouser or yellowy green sort of lime, that's showing him to be moving forwards with sincerity and communicating his confidence to be shared by everyone. And the rest of his clothes are quite down to earth and practical. He holds a lot of potential and he's wearing a black belt. And that shows he fully understands his ability to help change that situation. And so the remaining problems will benefit from that wisdom and be more readily absorbed, and things will resolve themselves, hopefully, once dry land has been reached. He's got a black pole, which is a bit like when we use a punt of the boat. So this is like a punt. And that's a bit like a fool stick. And that pole, like the fool stick, represents potential. Now, the only way forward is for that potential to have a fresh start. So emotions have been stirred, as we see on both sides of the boat, as he punts through the choppy water. And so this journey may have impatience, frustration, and hopefulness. The three of them have got nothing. They've got no luggage apart from their clothes. And we've got the boat, we've got the punt, and we've got the swords. Now, they're leaving with just the clothes that's on their backs and the problems which have prompted this journey. And while the journey will not be sailing off into the sunset, it's one that escapes and rescues these people. The 6 swords are bolt upright in that boat, indicating those problems are still present and they're visible. They can't be thrown overboard. They can't be left behind. And keeping that boat watertight. So they must be dealt with once they get to that land. To tackle them now would be very inadvisable. Yet, thankfully, it looks like there is a turning point that has been reached. The 3 of Swords is found on the right side of the woman, showing the emotional pain that she carries with her from the past on this journey. In front of her is the single sword, which represents the ace being directly in front of her, showing us she's in no doubt about her reality, and the truth will sting and be very present in her mind. But the remaining 2 swords on the left of the boat and the child bring the energy of the 2 of Swords, and that means indecision. And that can show that the balance was tipped by themselves or by others, forcing this escape and bringing them, hopefully, some welcome relief. The sword in the centre of the boat and the 3 to the right represent 4 swords, and that's the 4 of Swords, which symbolises the need to heal our emotions and recuperate from the choppy waters of the mind. It's a grey sky, and that shows that this situation of thought and contemplation, as they head for dry land, the grey sky is a situation of thought and contemplation, because they're heading for dry land. And if we look at that, it's filled with what looks like gentle hills and trees. And there's a calm looking place to start again. to find some nice, firm ground and go and deal with these issues. The land, if you look, is the same colour as the water. So they know that it's not going to be free of emotion because water represents emotion. So this is a place where they can have faith, even if they have no idea what it's going to be like. So the destination can be depicted as shades of white and blue, just like the water, yet the message is exactly the same. The journey represents the process of travelling away from past trouble, showing that we must willingly let go, move on, and just allow it to happen. So are you the one who's the faith and the process? Are you the one that's lost to the situation? Or are you the one that's actually the ferryman that's helping everything that changes, trusting and helping to relinquish control? So this card points and brings relief to situations that we're moving into, even though sometimes our problems are not resolved. So things might not be at their best when we get this card, but they're improving. 6 in tarot is progress. And we're moving on from that 5, which is the difficulties that we find after dismantling things and coming into obstacles. And they'll feel a sense of relief as the tide starts to change. So we know that extreme situations cannot suddenly be fixed, but we're aware that there's still some distance to travel, but we're making progress. So this is the card of feeling that we're much more confident and less stressed. And it's about finishing what we've been doing, but giving ourselves time to reevaluate for what we're wishing for. This is a card that's like a calm after a storm. So there's been a lot of stress and tension, and that's going to be reduced now. And it's possible to move away from a problem or a situation which has caused a lot of conflict and a lot of internal friction. So you're probably feeling quite battered and bruised by the situation, and yet perhaps very unsure of what you've got to do next or what you really got to do. So it's about how you're going to resolve long-term issues or for the long term. But things are changing and they are better. So this is also a time of accepting our difficulties and that they will be gradually passing into a situation where there will be an escape from them. But it's time now to look at the future and start to make gentle plans. Even if you can't enforce them, you need to be able to allow yourself to dream once again. It's about letting go and easing the pressure. The past is still present in the current or the questioner's mind, and any problems that this card actually represents is the departure that we are probably starting to go. We might be relieved, but not totally optimistic, because the healing process is beginning. And this card shows a very positive turning point in one's life, leaving behind choppy waters, bumpy roads, and moving into calmer time. And it's about being determined. And right now you're still at sea, yet you know that things are getting better and better times are indeed coming in. Now is not the time to try and confront issues. It's about letting the dust settle and finding a new way of dealing with things. But the 6 of Swords can also show leaving problems behind rather than working with them. You're letting go. So this is a card of journeys, physical journeys and move, and it's a rite of passage in someone's life. So there's something they need to go through with in order to grow, and that will help determine their character and their growth forevermore. This is a card of moving on, escaping from difficulties. Some key words are slow healing, progress, but it's slow, calmer waters, finding a safe harbor, shelter from the storm, a situation calming down, overcoming difficulties, mental stability, mental relief, lethargy, weariness, being despondent, lethargic, maybe feeling defeated, carrying the past with our attitudes and beliefs, getting out. I always think of it as a kind of getting out, running away maybe, making an escape. And having an accomplice, always important, an ally, assistance, support, guiding hand, spiritual guidance, our guardian angel, and a transition and a journey. Can even indicate holiday, vacation, and boats, of course. If we look at that, we find ourselves we're looking at the shoreline. Now, behind us is the shoreline, and it's jagged rocks and cliff faces and things like that, where no trees have grown on the side of the shore because it's so rough. It's been too exposed to the elements, perhaps like our figures. So it's not been a terrain that's been easy to navigate because it's got hazards and dangers. This boat's small, it's narrow, it's offering enough room for three: a man, a woman, and a child. And the man's taken charge of the boat while the woman and the child are hunched over a bench just in front of him. And the woman seems oblivious, doesn't she, to her surroundings, and almost appears unresponsive, or she's not engaging in anything. But that man is standing. Look at his stance. He's tall and robust and has the body of one who looks as if he is healthy and young. So the combinations of all these colours, there's blue for healing, brown for being grounded, a little bit of red in his boots there, suggesting he's quite a balanced individual, and he's got sufficient positive elemental influences which govern his actions, even his thoughts, his feelings, and his purpose, confidence. So we've got a strong sense by looking at this card that our figure, i.e. the man, is here to help. And he can be relied upon to safely deliver his passengers to the other side. I don't think that the woman and the child could have done this on their own. And so we should really look at the fact that the choppy, turbulent waters that rock the side of the boat are on the right side, while on the left side, in the far off distance, we can see that it's still and serene. The man is strong and determined and calmly taking the woman and the child and letting them lay low and hold tight while he uses that strong oar to push away into the water. He knows that he mustn't fear because those two in front are depending on him for safety. And he knows that if they were left to it, they might not have the strength for this journey, but they've already endured so much. So he can see calm, clear water ahead, which represents his mental state. And he's taking them on that journey so that they'll see it too. And he now needs to make steady progress. He must keep everything balanced Their bodies don't look as if they're tense, but I think that he is aware that they've survived the worst of it. And now he is trying to actually get them to reach their destination. But anything can happen in between. There's probably some dark clouds in the background behind the land, and the island in the distance looks so peaceful and welcoming. Our figure, the woman, has obviously reached a turning point, and now she's trying to find her way forwards that will take her from her external and internal misery. So she will probably find comfort in the fact that she's not alone. She's got a companion, a ferryman there, and she has support and the kind people willing to help her. Man, it's probably not a friend. Looks as if he's dressed as if he's a working fellow. And he looks strong, as if he's just part of their journey. So he's hoping that slowly but surely she can pick herself up and pick up the pieces of her life. Beautiful card here. One of moving and progressing from troubled times. One that I always think can tell us the story of we all need someone in our life to help us move on. And sometimes we're just not completely able, while we're in a crisis, to be able to be that person that can help ourselves. And we all need a helping hand. So it's really important that in our lives that there is a balance about being able to be looked after like the child and to actually have ultimate trust, and to also be the one that can actually be the ferryman or taxi driver, as I sometimes refer to it. Sometimes people are needing just to call a cab to get away. Just that. The cab driver probably has no idea what a difference they've made to actually helping that person get from A to B, whatever they're leaving behind. But in this, we've got the boat. It's very good because it tells us that the water represents our emotions, and the swords, of course, are in the boat, clearly. So sometimes we need to be the one that helps, and sometimes we need to be the helper or the person that's receiving that help. The woman and the child in the boat resemble the two down and out figures that we're going to meet, or you've probably already met, in the Five of Pentacles. In the Five of Pentacles, they were in desperate circumstances. They are huddled in a blizzard. I'm not going to show you that card. You can get your own deck and thumb through until you find the Five of Pentacles, and you'll see them battling in the blizzard. So we hope that they will get into the circumstances where they get that much needed help. But they've now got someone to guide them out of their situation. And just incidentally, for a moment, I just want to say to you, I always try and do swords and then cups and then wands and then pentacles when I'm teaching. It's very logical for me because that's how I was taught. That's how I learned. And the reason, you don't see that in books, but really, everything starts with the thought. You've got to start with your thinking. Then you go with, oh, I think I want a glass of water. But that water did not, by me wanting to manifest it and hoping, and very much wanting to go into a place where I want it. Wanting does not provide. You've got to go make it happen. Yeah? So you've got to think about it, want it, do it. Then you've got your product. So that is why I will always do swords, cups, wands, and then pentacles. There's no luggage in that boat, is there? There's only the Six of Swords. And they've been driven into the floor. which is quite a scary thought. So have they left everything behind? Probably. Or maybe the plan to start afresh on a faraway island. They can get what they need or purchase what they need when they arrive. With those swords travelling with them, they may be able to look at the past, the Three of Swords, to be a bit inspired by the Ace of Swords, and so because there's 6 of them there, and probably be a bit indecisive with the Two of Swords. We've got to remember that the Suit of Swords is always the one to bring us the mental stress and conflict. So although they're making a great escape, it's still not a great time for them. And bringing the problems with them, that's what it means. Those problems might be negative mindset, unresolved arguments maybe, battles, all sorts of things. Maybe they're not very forgiving. So, when they get there, when that boat lands on shore, it's the swords that will get there first. Our woman is relieved to have a safe place and a safe distance between her and her problems that she's leaving behind. But she might not realise that some of those issues will still remain. So in her effort and determination and all the unpleasantness that goes with that, the only thing that might have changed is the physical location. Problems rarely go away on their own. And if this lady's got any problems, she might just run away without resolving any of them. Sometimes we can't, can we? We've just got to walk away. And they might catch up with her, but it might be someone. Yeah? And if the problems are within her, the new location, well, it's not going to make any difference for the problems there too. So this little group in the boat makes its way slowly to the shore. So the sky ahead being a light grey is showing clarity, and that they'll have the chance to be still and calm their minds, and the journey will take them to a nice, safe event. And so the physical scars will heal really fast, but it may take time for the psychological wounds that's probably affected them to happen. So the wounds are represented by the swords in that boat. And when they get to the shoreline, they're probably the only ones that's going to see him. And as the man and the woman sail, they are very noticeably, if you notice, they're sitting with their backs to us, which might mean they've turned their backs on the past and they're focused on moving forward. That's what it would suggest to us. So no matter whatever it is, when they get to that location, they can rebalance, refocus, and regather and regroup. They will also have a bit of a break, and they might decide to do nothing. They might lie around and just let the urgency that's been pressing their mind just roll so that they can relax. They do need to do that. We have no idea what's going on. When this card comes up in a reading, it's a positive indication. People are moving on and they are going from difficult times into calmer times, and that they can see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's a card that when it comes up, it's asking you to trust that life will support you and that you will have rewarding experiences. Or maybe you can be the one that supports someone else, and that you must first of all believe in yourself and your sense of purpose. And remember, we talked about identifying with which one of the three. And so it's a transitional period, isn't it? As we move from one state of mind into another, but we don't just suddenly, you might feel shook up when she arrives. You might find it hard to function on a day-to-day basis while you're going through the motions of this. And it can make us feel as if we've failed or we're not getting it right. So your mind's this is what I mean by letting your thoughts roll. it's important that we are able to sometimes look at the fact that the Six of Swords is where you've been through a tough time and you're probably feeling physically and mentally worn out at this stage. You're getting a break from it all. And once there's a bit of distance from your current problems, you'll gain new perspective. And that'll give you a chance to be able to recharge your battery. So this can also represent a vacation, a trip, or to be able to just let go of things so that they are out of sight and out of mind. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, aren't we? So no matter what we've been doing, we've got to try and figure out how we not end up in a similar situation and not allow it to develop over a matter of time, even though we've changed one location for another. So we mustn't bring our problems from the past, which is why those Three of Swords are there, not to be indecisive, and to maybe focus on that new beginning that Ace of Swords gives us. So that's why the Six Swords in the boat. So it also depends on who you're actually identifying with in this imagery. Are you the figure that's huddled? Or are you the one that's doing the helping, steering the course of the boat? You might be the one that's actually helping someone. And we wouldn't want anyone to actually feel that they didn't have a little bit of help when they really need it through those very difficult and dark times. The card maybe is saying, get away from it all, take a break, you're on your way now. And if you are actually leaving what might be a damaged sort of relationship, it just means that you'll need time to heal and you'll need time to actually regather, regroup as it were. And sometimes we all have to actually just walk away. This card's a reminder that there's always someone willing to help. You don't always have to do everything on your own. You just have to be able to be clear that you're prepared to actually go along on that journey so that you are able to be given that help by, or that guidance by whoever it is that's the ferryman. All right? So, a very lovely, progressive, coming out of a difficult state of mind, isn't it? You've got the journal that's on my website if you want to have a little look at that. That one's plain, yeah? So Six of Swords, so if you want a tarot journal, Seven of Swords, which we'll be doing, put the cards on there for you. And look at this. You do need, I've always had journals. Need to go a bit further down than that. Let's take it there. Think of a story about that card. You know, I often think when I look at that card, although it's not relevant to me, is somebody's escaping something or someone. And yeah, they're battered, mentally battered from the whole thing. And when we see a child and a woman, it makes you think, doesn't it? Oh, whatever it could be, circumstances, some sort of mental difficulties or whatever, that they just need to be able to go somewhere safe and start again. And sometimes with the one that helps or with the ones that actually needs the help can happen. So think of whatever you like. It's a card of progress. No matter what, it's the start. It may not be, what's the matter with you? You should be all right now. You're here. You've landed. You may need time. And that's why all those swords, that's why I wanted to tell you, look, don't just see Six Swords. Look at the three, the harp, and the look at the two in this position that was made in the Two of Swords. Look at the one as in navigating towards that Ace of Swords, brand new way of thinking. Of course, double-edged sword. It's got its pros, it's got its cons, but it's all to do with how we think. And remember that sometimes it's, let's make it a good day. Yeah, things happen, but it's amazing, isn't it, how we can get wrapped up in being in a place in our minds that's very limiting and doesn't allow us to be positive. Maybe we're late for work, or somebody held us up, or we're really annoyed now, and we let it just bother us. And does it really matter? So what I'm saying is our state of mind, which is what swords are, and the communication. Maybe somebody's communicated something, we don't like it, and we've really gone, we're not happy at all. What do they mean? What do they say that to me for? Let it go. Don't take it with you, because otherwise you've got no escape from it. And really, it's not action, is it? Words can have very difficult circumstances and affect and wound us and the psychological states. But we need to try to help ourselves to just take it forwards into a space and into a place where we do go with that progress. If you are enjoying sort of tutorial about tarot and how to read cards, then I would suggest you switch over to YouTube. And if you subscribe, you can then press the notification so you know when we're on, so you don't miss anything. And also, I don't know if you are in a place of looking at my playlists on YouTube. I'm updating them all. Ah, wow. Are you? Really? Oh, that's wonderful. My aim that last night, I'm studying astrology, loving it, absolutely loving it. I've always done astrology. I wanted to go deeper and deeper. So I found the right teacher. Yeah, I'm really going for it. I did the first course. Now I'm going for the full pelt of diploma and the whole shebang as much as I can. And I've got a wonderful teacher. What I call them, my classmates just went, she's absolutely right. You are so flexible. You're not dictating to us. You're saying, more you know, the more confusing it is. And I'm going to say that a school of thought when I go to learn something is I'll learn while I'm enjoying it, and I'll try and really devour everything that I possibly can. But I'm never going to know it all. Nobody does. Might think they're experts. They're experts in a teeny weeny weeny bit. Teeny weeny weeny bit. And so my teeny weeny weeny bit is I have run a tarot platform for tarot readers and psychics. So I know what you all need if you want a customer. That's so good. That's what it's about. If you've learned something new about the images, that I think people say, passageway, yeah. And you go, oh, yeah, choppy waters on the right. They're obviously escaping something. But if you really look at it and look at your colours, clouds, what do clouds mean? They're a covering. Something's hidden. And clouds up in the sky is blue, isn't it? Hopefully, or grey. We see in the tarot the different sort of the ways in which we can have a dark sky, but on a clear day, you can see it's blue, and blue is the colour of healing. Sometimes it's grey, so it's a mixture of everything that's dual. And so sometimes in the colours and in the symbology of the tarot, you can actually go, this person's definitely making progress. But you know what? They are a mixture of. That significance is the 6 swords, but they represent the 3. That was the heartbreak. And that's why we're seeing that scene. We're having the 2 where she's blindfolded, indecision. Oh, crikey. And then we see the 4 on the right that remind us, just because they're to the right of the boat now, that was the recoup. And then we've got the ace. And so we can see it and we can actually go, gosh, yeah, this is their story. And maybe that's the way to put it in tarot, that there is a story. And think of something yourself where it happened to you. Were you helped, or you were the one being helped? Or you were that child, vulnerable, feeling all of this was something where you had no control, and it was like, oh, just being whisked away from me to be. It's the ferryman that's taking a woman and a child away from something that's not been great. And we can't assume it's a relationship. It might be she just can't cope with where she's been, the influences of others, or there's nothing there for her. She can't build on anything. She can't grow, and she can't make any money. And remember what we referred to, Five of Pentacles. They're the two characters, and you go, oh gosh. And in that card, they've fallen on hard times. They can't see the woods for the trees. They can't see the church for the blizzard. We've got the courses here. People have asked me for them, and I've helped those people get started, and they're learning their profession. And so the website, go on tarotwithanemarie.com, and you will find the courses there. They are yours. You can watch them at your leisure. There are not set times. It's in your library. Go to your library, go over it. And yeah, here is where I give you that support. All right. Thank you very much for having me. I do hope you enjoyed that. Swords are heavy because it's all about our thinking. And yeah, thoughts can be confusing. Conversations can be enlightening and confusing or heartbreaking or whatever. You can't learn everything as long as you know the basics. And I am saying the same every week to you guys. It's like anything. If you want to be an intuitive reader, that's fine. And the reason I did the courses is because you asked for them. The idea is you can go on there and you can choose what you want. Take your time before you go to the next bit. Bye for now. See you next week. Bye.